Robert Lewandowski walks into every conversation these days with the kind of calm that only decades at the top can buy, yet every sentence he speaks pushes Barcelona's story forward into an uncertain high-stakes chapter. At 37, he insists the engine is still firing. His training numbers, his match reading, the way he still finds pockets inside crowded boxes, all of it argues that he has time left at the very highest level. Tonight's milestone, his 150th Barca appearance, is more than a personal stat. It's a stage on which a deeper drama plays out. The club that has long balanced flair and ruthlessness now faces a choice between leaning on a proven finisher and accelerating around a teenage force who arrived not with promise but with immediate, game-changing impact. Lamine Yamal burst into first-team thinking as a 15-year-old and left senior pros staring, not because he will need years to grow, but because, in a way almost impossible to manufacture, he arrived ready. Lewandowski noticed it from day one, an instinctive ability to beat defenders, an audacity that bypasses the usual apprenticeship, that dynamic and measured veteran voice versus raw, viral young genius is the narrative axis of this season, yet the conversation is not just romantic. It becomes tactical and psychological. Lewandowski, shaped by eras when shouting and strict hierarchy were accepted tools, has spoken openly about learning to adapt. The generation now feeding Barca's engine responds differently to leadership, to feedback, to the pressures of a social media era that can project a teenager's mistakes worldwide in minutes. He describes the work as mental as much as technical, keeping hunger alive, protecting joy, and helping someone used to playing in the garden retain that freedom under the microscope. On the pitch, that translates into questions the coaching staff must answer. Do you build around the veterans' positional intelligence and finishing, occupying defenders so the wide teams explode into space? Or do you tilt toward tempo and wing play, giving the young dribbler room with a formation that sacrifices a traditional target? It's a chess match with Champions League hues. Barcelona have made winning Europe the season's bright objective, and they enter that campaign facing Premier League giants and established continental powers. Experience matters in knockout competitions. Lewandowski's composure and knowledge of how to close out games are irreplaceable, but so does game-changing unpredictability. A single Yamal run can undo the most disciplined defense. The risk side of the ledger is stark. Young players who rise early face intensity that can burn them out. The public eye, fixture congestion and transfer temptation create a pressure cooker. Lewandowski himself acknowledges this, warning gently that maintaining the same spark over decades is almost impossible for anyone who debuts as a teenager today. Practically, the club's choices in training, rotation and messaging will decide more than who starts on a given weekend. They will decide whether these two complementary talents become a short-lived collision or a defining partnership. For fans, the drama is delicious and terrifying. Loyalty to a striker who has delivered trophies rubs up against the excitement of watching a prodigy rewrite limits. For the board and sporting directors, contract timetables and transfer windows are not abstract. Lewandowski's deal, the squad's depth, and the market's appetite for young stars who can command massive fees all push into the decision. The season ahead will not only test Barca's tactical flexibility, but its cultural intelligence. Can a club steeped in tradition reinvent the way it mentors and integrates talent without losing identity? The answer will unfold in training pictures and decisive Champions League nights, in how coaches speak to players and how match plans shift when a teenager's blistering speed meets a veteran's guide. What happens next could be as small as a formation tweak or as seismic as a summer transfer that signals which path the club chooses. Either way, the story is no longer simply about goals and appearances. It is a crossroads moment where one club must balance memory and momentum, the comfort of the known and the electric promise of what comes next. Keep your eyes on Barca this season. When experience and explosion collide, football rarely offers anything less than a spectacle, and sometimes the outcome writes a new chapter in the game itself.